Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome. Let's have a look at Payday 2 Ultimate Edition, a la the ultimate co-op heisting FPS action game. Payday 2 is a single player with multiplayer capabilities up to 3 other players, including optional bots. The original game was released all the way back on the 13th of August 2013. The game is developed by OVERKILL, a Starbreeze studio, and published by Starbreeze Publishing AB. They were originally published by a different company but shed ties after the 100th update, likely due to a conflict of interest in terms of microtransactions and loot boxes being introduced. That is to say, OVERKILL decided against the idea following community backlash, and has since bundled all previously sold DLC and microtransactions into one version of the game, the Ultimate Edition, as well as removing loot boxes by allowing all of the safes that players obtained to be open for free rather than having to use a key that you have to purchase or a drill. OVERKILL has done a tremendous job in supporting the games for years to come following its release, and to this day are still adding features and gameplay modes that the community request or find popular. Not to mention that they also update the game with various Halloween or Christmas themed maps that can be accessed in the mission selector even during off-season. As a result, I've logged exactly 1,000 hours into the game total, plus playing on the easiest and hardest difficulty, single player with and without bots, as well as multiplayer with friends and the public community members. The future definitely looks good for OVERKILL, especially with OVERKILL's The Walking Dead coming out just over the horizon. If the developers are able to keep up the same support for The Walking Dead as they did Payday 2, I have no doubts that the game will succeed. We'll break this video down into 4 sections: the options and settings, gameplay features, gameplay loop, and the overall feel and verdict of the game. Overall feel and verdict. Let's start with the overall feel and verdict. Overall, I had a blast playing Payday 2, fighting off dozens of enemies to the sound of expertly crafted music and crescendos, and it's just such a joyous experience. Atop that, OVERKILL has worked in conjunction with other developers in the past, bringing Hotline Miami into the world of Payday, the dentist from the Breaking Bad, as well as supporting some notable figures like H3H3's infamous court battle on YouTube, where H3H3 character packs are available to purchase, with the proceeds going to the couple in an effort to pay for the court fees. This is as far as I'm aware, so please note that I have not looked into this case extensively, and that's just what I have picked up through word of mouth. It would be awry for me to not also mention that one of my favorite movies and movie characters as of late, John Wick, is also in the game. However, I don't think Keanu Reeves voices the character due to a previous bad history with other developers for one of the Matrix games, I think. Regardless, let's not get too sidetracked here. If you're a fan of the first game, Payday 2 improves upon every imaginable mechanic and stands out as the ultimate Payday heisting experience. If the daily objectives and achievements, as well as rare mask drops, don't keep you from coming back, then no doubt the new maps, characters, and game modes being added to the game periodically throughout the years will hold your interest. Would I recommend the base game for a price tag of $10 US, which is about 15 Australian dollars? Their answer is a resounding yes. You get so much content for that price tag, it's just ridiculous. For $20 US, which is about 30 Australian dollars rounded up, you can instead buy the Ultimate Edition, which bundles all of the previous DLC that the game had to offer, which once costed over several $100s if memory serves me right. I would definitely recommend picking up the Ultimate Edition bundle over the standard game, though I believe you're able to upgrade to the bundle later, but I haven't had a chance to test this. If you're a fan of horde-style gameplay where you fend off dozens of enemies whilst taking down special enemies and completing objectives, then Payday definitely has you covered. I can easily recommend the game, however, if this style of gameplay is not your cup of tea, I would at least recommend checking out the Payday 2 web series, which feels like a proper Hollywood movie featuring a cast of Payday 2's characters.
I want you to work for me.
The world of Payday extends beyond just a couple of heisters out to make a few bucks. It's a little bit more intricate than that. And if you're a fan of delving into deep lore created by a community and its developers, then Payday 2 has quite a bit to satiate your hunger. It's also notable that the Payday 2 developers offer some immersive experiences such as FBI files you can open up in-game that leads you to a web browser with your Steam stats, updating in real time with the crimes that you have committed and are on your character's record, complete with weapon preferences, number of kills with that weapon, top weapon choices, map choices, and so on. It's really worth a look. I have 1,000 hours in it. I wholeheartedly recommend the game. Options and settings. Payday 2 offers a wide variety of video settings with various resolutions at your disposal, full screen or windowed mode, VSync, depth of field, amongst other graphic options. Notably, it also includes several options to increase performance for lower end PCs such as flushing GPU, corpse limits, frame rate limits, streaming chunk sizes, and so on. It also has adjustable field of view, camera movement effects, and other quality of life options to tweak your first person shooting experience to your liking. Overall, the game is very well optimized, with my CPU clocking in at about 30 to 50% usage depending on the map, and GPU between 15 to 30%. Video settings aside, we also have fully rebindable controls for on foot as well as in vehicle. I did not find the need to rebind any of the controls as they were all very intuitive and felt good. And one other notable feature is the ability to completely wipe your character clean and start anew if you wish to do so. And once again, I was able to run the whole game on the highest graphic settings with no lag, 60 FPS, smooth all throughout on a i5-7400 CPU at 3 GHz, as well as a GTX 1070 with 8 GB of video memory and 16 GB of RAM. Gameplay features. The main features in Payday 2 are stealth missions, loud missions, RPG mechanics in terms of classes and skills, including infamy and character leveling, unique difficulty system and maps with RNG mechanics, as well as gameplay modes and objectives such as side jobs, daily jobs, safe houses, crime spree, and holdout. First up, we have the stealth missions. There are a mixture of missions where stealth is optional, allowing the match to continue and go into loud mode if a player's presence is detected via dead bodies, broken glass, loot bags, open windows, and so on. There are also stealth missions where stealth is required, in that the mission automatically fails after a short timer if the player is detected in any way. Stealth mission mechanics work differently than loud mission mechanics, where NPCs operate on a detection system. A player's detection is based on the equipment that they are using, and if an NPC's detection fills up to 100, then the player is detected and the NPC either panics if they're a civilian or threatens to cuff the player and call him back up, which sounds the alarm. These can also be circumvented with the player commanding the NPCs to get down, or simply killing them and bagging the bodies. Dead guards have pages that need to be answered, with 4 pages per map total before an automatic alarm sounds, while some maps on higher difficulties will spawn even more guards once players have killed a certain number of them. Completing a map successfully in stealth provides an XP boost for the next mission that you complete. Loud missions can be a result of a failed stealth attempt or a loud only mission where stealth is not an option. In a loud mission, the main enemy in the game are police officers that increase in intensity as the game progresses depending on the mission type and difficulty level. Essentially, the horde is split up into different tiers that slowly increase in difficulty as time goes on, whilst reacting to factors such as hostages killed, objectives completed, or how many players have been downed or put into custody. On top of police officers that get increasingly more difficult, there are also special enemy types such as snipers, cloakers, bulldozers, tasers, medics, shields, and turrets. I probably forgot one, but you get the idea. Each and every one serves to turn the flow of battle towards the enemy's favor, yet with vigilance and firepower, you can generally overcome these obstacles with ease. The loud missions also have an ebb and flow, from assaults of police officers to officer retreats, where you have a brief downtime to lick your wounds or trade hostages, to have players respawn, all before the music starts to crescendo and another assault begins. There is also the rarer and elusive Captain Winters, who can spawn on certain maps in a circle of shields, though I don't think he spawns in single player mode, and thus I don't really have footage of him. Essentially, he increases the damage and health of enemies on the map up to a certain cap, I think 50%, increasing the values based on how long he has been active on the map, and assault waves will never end whilst he's on the map, and players cannot respawn during this time. Moving on to the RPG mechanics in terms of classes and skills, there is a wide range of available skills within the Mastermind, Enforcer, Technician, Ghost, and Fugitive skill trees. Luckily, Overkill has decided to change it so that you can respec at any time free of cost. Being able to rapidly change skills on the fly can be a great mechanic in trying out new classes without having worry about having the monetary funds to do so, as was the case in an earlier version of the game. Mastermind revolves around sniper rifles that can penetrate through shields and walls and enemies, first aid and hostage control. Enforcer is all about shotguns, ammo, armor, and shotgun damage. Technician specializes in automatic weapons, turrets, drills, and C4 to blow down doors, safes, or enemies. Ghosts specialize in stealth, silenced weapons, marking targets, increasing loot value, body bags, lockpicking, as well as maneuvers like reversing tasers and dodging gunfire. Fugitive is all about akimbo weapons, staying in the fight long after you're down, melee damage, and resistance. Each of these classes have skills that you can mix and match for a character to cover all bases. The game also offers a fantastic profile system which remembers skills for certain profiles, allowing you to easily switch between a stealth class and a loud class. This was a feature that was added on after a lot of community suggestion. With this in mind, there are also perk decks that provide special bonuses such as having more health, regenerating health with hostages, injectors that prevent damage from being taken, being able to dodge better, and so on. Finally, there is Infamy, which is a special reward you receive optionally once you reach level 100, sort of like the prestige system in Call of Duty. Ultimately, it resets your level, but grants you a boost of a mask or a permanent XP bonus increase. This is perhaps one of the key systems in incentivizing leveling up, as the more you increase your infamy, the easier it is to level up, as well as reducing the cost of skills that need to be purchased. There are also, of course, difficulties that not only change the types of enemies and number of special units that spawn on the map, but also changes the map dynamically. Each and every map already has a certain RNG element built into it, from where safes spawn, important NPCs spawn, guard spawns, cameras, doorways, and the like. On some maps, the higher the difficulty, the more obstacles are placed in the player's way. It is a fairly simple mechanic as it only affects preset locations and spawns, however it serves to be a refreshing mechanic when playing the same map twice, which happens more often than not. As for the enemies, their difficulty increases by not just the damage they do or the damage they soak up, but also by their weaponry and armor types. For some enemies, frontal assaults on the body do nothing unless you have certain skills or weaponry, allowing you to penetrate their armor. Increasing the difficulty increases the cool factor of enemies, and it may just be me, but there seems to also be an increase in their tactics as well. Too many times have I seen two shields standing in front of a bulldozer, waiting for a flashbang or a smoke grenade to go off before they charge into the room that I'm in. Finally, to wrap up this section, we have the gameplay modes and additions that have been packaged into the game only within the last few years. First off, we have the smaller additions such as side missions and side jobs, complete with some achievements and unique masks or headgear. Each achievement that you gain will also place a small trophy that you can find in your safe house. There is a small safe house in an earlier version that's now reserved for Halloween events, but the new safe house edition has enough rooms for a large cast of characters as well as upgradable facilities. It features kill rooms, weapon rooms with damage testers, as well as gambling and various decorations based on your loadouts and inventory arsenal. Of course, there's also community voice recordings on the phone.
I'm so fucking done coming up with new voice lines for the shitty contest. Seriously, drink bleach, guys, off yourself. I'm out. Peace.
There is also safe house defense, where every now and again a raid will occur on your safe house and you can choose to defend against it in a wave defense mode, pushing back 3 waves of police whilst preventing them from stealing your money packs. This mode has received such positive feedback that it's now a separate mode altogether called Holdout, where players hold out against progressively harder waves whilst defending a hostage. I haven't had a chance to look at this mode too in depth, but it has similar progression mechanics as that of Crime Spree. Crime Spree mode is where the mission selector rolls 3 heists for you to choose from, typically single day heists, each of them awarding points based on their length and assumed difficulty. As the players reach higher and higher levels, players will have to choose modifiers to the enemies such as increased damage and health, shield enemies reflecting projectiles, less pages being allowed to answer, and so on. The reward is continental coins as well as the card drops you get at the end of normal missions. It's quite a lucrative and fun game mode to play when you run out of ideas of what heists to go on next. The continental coins are more unique than cash in that you earn them through achievements, achievement milestones, side jobs, or daily jobs, as well as the Crime Spree mode. They can be used to upgrade your safe house or to purchase any weapon attachments you may need instead of waiting for a drop. Though some weapon detachments are unfortunately locked behind achievements, some of which are very difficult if not impossible to attain unless you have a 4-player crew. Notably, the Continental coins are an element of John Wick's movie, so it's exciting to see the game include things from other areas. I'll also briefly mention that the game has mutators, where special effects can be applied to your game, such as friendly fire, exploding corpses, bulldozers, and so on. I haven't really played with this setting too much as I really like my vanilla Payday experience, but the option is there for those so inclined to spice up their game just a tad bit. Oh yeah, and who can forget about the bots? The AI bots that fill player slots if you solo or don't have a group of 4 has been vastly improved after several iterations, and are now very useful in the whole manner of situations. A highly requested feature was even added in where the bots can now carry loot bags that you throw at them, whilst also providing some extra bonuses such as faster reload, more health, faster interaction speeds, and so on. To top it off, you can even customize the bot's appearance to your liking with separate gear loadouts. Gameplay loop. The gameplay loop of Payday 2 is fairly simple. Select a mission from CrimeNet or purchase one from the contract broker, play through the mission's objectives and then get a cash or XP reward at the completion of it. Obtain a card drop to get a new mask, weapon attachment, cash bonus, XP bonus, or a booster item that increases weapon attributes or XP and money gain. After that, upgrade your character's skills, deposit your XP into your perk deck to unlock the next tier, and finally when you reach level 100, obtain infamy and repeat the process. It is a rewarding gameplay loop that will bring you coming back to Payday 2 over and over again, especially after you've taken a break and are coming back to see all the new features that have been implemented. Throughout the years, I've had a few gripes with difficulty spikes, strange mechanics like flashbangs that appear out of nowhere, and various missing enemies like cloakers from the first game. However, as the years progressed, Overkill listened to the community and brought in changes that not only introduced different enemy types and balance tweaks, but as well as like new maps, game modes, daily objectives, safe houses, and much more. If there's ever been a developer that's more deserving of praise or your money, Overkill would fit the bill quite nicely. Other than that, thanks for watching. Oh, thanks for the follow.